So around 50 or 60 you start doing this, and you just continually find undead until you hit around 70, 75. Then you get the option of going to fight Sons of Svanir, like I'm doing right now, but higher level versions, and they're actually a bit more interesting, and the area has much more story. It's much more rich, much more interesting. There's all sorts of stuff all over the place, and it just feels way better than just fighting a bunch of undead in an undead land. And I mean bunch of undead. There's undead eagles that poop giant poisonous eggs on you. That's what the undead's like in this game. Everything. Undead tree people. It's just a little too far. It's just a bit much. It's really boring. That might just be my opinion. I don't know. I just don't like all the undead. And it just, after your first character, it's like, okay, this is kind of cool. Your second character, you're just going through the motions. Your third character, you really don't care, and you go out your way to find somewhere else to fight. Like, my last character is my guardian. I stayed in... Let me bring up the map and show you guys. I stayed up here, in this area, from 70 to 80. And it was significantly slower than doing it where all the undead were, because everyone thinks you only have to get to the undead area to level. They think that's where all the easy events are. And it's really not. There's lots of events up there too. It's just no one does them. They're easy, they're quick, and there's even a world dragon to fight there. You get to fight an ice dragon there, which is really cool. And just no one does anything there. And it's because your story pushes you through to the undead areas instead of actually giving you options. Like, it makes you believe you have options when you don't. Your story does not give you options at all. At first, you're like, okay, so if I do this, this may happen, this may happen. It makes you feel like you have a little control over your character's destiny. Well then, not so much. You meet a character named Traherne, and you find out your sole duty is to escort this tree guy to get a tree sword, to slam down into an island of ore, to turn it into a giant tree and make it stop being undead. That's it. So you're pushed through these undead areas instead of having a branchless story arc where you rather go fight Jormag, who controls all the Sons of Svanir that I'm fighting, these ice elementals. I'm trying to remember the other dragon. I know he has a avatar basically. He's called the Shatter, but he has like these really cool crystal creatures that run around. They're kind of like Risen, kind of not. But in the area, you actually feel like you're doing stuff. It's really cool looking. They don't give you an option to branch off into fighting that dragon instead. Instead, you have to go fight the undead dragon. That's just really boring. It's mind-numbingly boring. Especially since the last 3 MMOs have been about nothing but undead. World of Warcraft, before Mists of Pandaria, it was Cataclysm, which is just droves and droves of mindless monsters. But before Cataclysm is Wrath of the Lich King, nothing but undead. Entire expansion dedicated to undead. Seriously? Rift started out as you fighting against a guy who controls the undead plane of existence. And it got bored really quickly because you're just fighting mindless undead. But Rift was quick to grasp that, okay, people really don't like fighting only just this undead. So they started putting in other options, like the other dragons that control the other realms, like the life realm and the air realm and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, cool, so we can go fight all this. Of course, Rift is a traditional MMO, so you'll end up doing raids in the undead area anyway, but you're not forced with progressing your character, progressing your storyline to go through these undead areas. Actually, I think it got to the point where you didn't even have to raid in the undead area if you did your heroics or hard mode instance dailies every day. You can get good enough gear to go straight up to where everyone else was gear-wise, and I really don't like gear curves that much anymore. Back in the day when I first started MMOs, they didn't bother me, but now they just kind of You know, I'm getting older. I don't have all this time to put into getting gear. I just want to get on, do some stuff, have some fun with friends, and then move on. But that's my opinion on that. I really just, at first I really liked the journey up until you hit 50, then you're forced into undead areas for a long time, and it just becomes monotonous, it becomes boring. And I know that's not just me, a lot of people feel that way. Guild Wars 2 has some really other cool stuff. World v. World's fun to an extent. There is huge rock, paper, scissors in this game. The best class being Elementalist right now, easily. I think everyone universally agrees on that. And then the next few best classes are probably like Guardian, Mesmer, Thief. This is another event. This is a problem Guild Wars 2 has. It's called Culling. It's where monsters and stuff just won't show on your screen, but they're actually there. It's to prevent too much from bogging down your computer. I have a really good computer. Should have no problem with all this appearing on my screen. But yet, the monsters are called, and I don't get to see anything that's appearing. But anyway, let's get back to World v. World. World v. World's fun because it's all the servers, not at once, but 3 at a time, are put up against each other. Whoever wins gets bonuses towards their servers, like extra experience, extra loot, chance to find loot, stuff like that. It's really fun to participate in. I enjoy World v. World, although lately it's been kind of dying down. But, I don't know, I just really enjoy it. And then you got Structured PvP, which is basically Battlegrounds. And you got tournament versions of it. And not a lot of people really like Structured PvP from what I hear. I hear it's completely dead. That's because Thieves and Dagger Elementalists run that. So, no one really plays it that much from what I hear, except for tournaments. And that's because tournaments gives you ranking, and ranking lets you flaunt your EP. I'm not even going to get into that because I used to be a gladiator priest in WoW, and it's not nothing special to me. Oh, I'm going to die to this Elder Doliac for you guys. Okay. But, yeah, I find Structured PvP fun from time to time. But not a whole bunch. Mostly just like once every few days I'll jump into Structured PvP. And just mess around with it. Oh wow, surprised I'm not dying. But and then you can do all this before you're hitting 80 too. You don't need to be 80 to enjoy World v. World or Structured PvP. It helps a lot though for World v. World because you're going to get ran over by people who have better gear, even though you're boosted up in stat wise and level wise. You don't have all this toughness or all these extra traits, which are basically talents and stuff like that all these other people have. Instead, you're just boosted up with what you have right now. And you can level through World v. World. And to be honest, it's a different experience if you want something that's different from playing against non-PCs and you have an option to level and go to World v. World. It's pretty fun. Although, maybe not for servers who aren't doing well. My server probably is. It's like bottom of the barrel. It doesn't do too bad, but it's not amazing. But I'm here because all my friends here and I enjoy it. So, yeah. Excuse me, I really had a cough. There's World v. World, there's Structured PvP. You do all this and you hit 80. And then all you have left to do is expert dungeons or story mode dungeons for getting your dailies done, and fractals, and grinding for your legendary, which should be hard to get before people like are spazzing out on me about how legendary should be easy or whatever. No, they should be hard to get. And there is some time invested into them, and it should be some time because they're really cool looking. They're really unique skins. If you guys want to see legendaries, feel free to YouTube them. They got like the Meteorologist, the Juggernaut, which is a hammer. What else was there? There's Twilight. I want to say the other one's Dawn. There's a sword that's basically like the sun. It's called Dawn. I don't remember the other ones. But Twilight and Dawn I remember the most because everyone plays like a warrior or guardian, and that's what they go for. They use nothing but great swords mostly, which is baffles me because two-handed maces are really cool in this game. I'm really strong with warriors and guardians too. But you go for your legendaries and you have these, you know, these experts and stuff you can do, which you really won't get done unless you're in a decent guild. It's willing to help you, wants to do it. Doesn't mind the fact that you're a class and they're decent players if you want to get done in reasonable time. Reasonable time being 20-30 minutes per expert, per wing. So in order to finish a full dungeon, you're looking like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And most casual players aren't going to sit down and be like, oh well, I could do this in one night. No, you'll probably have to schedule time to do all this with your friends over the course of the week, which is fine. Assuming you get it done, assuming you guys have friends that are good enough to do it, and you yourself are good enough to do it, or at least good enough to the point where you're not hindering your team. You get that done, and you're like, okay, I really don't have much else to do. Like, there isn't anything keep me intrigued in this game. There isn't a carrot on a stick, so to speak, because there's no gear climb, which I like. But at the same time, you got these dungeons, which are brutal. You have to, like, be on your toes. You have to dodge everything. You just have to be on it to do these dungeons most of the time. Because most of the time, you aren't going to have a good group. So you're going to have to pick up slack for people. And then you got fractals, which basically kind of like dungeons, but they're a bit easier, in my opinion. You're like, okay, I got all this. And I go for Ascendant gear, which is basically the best kind of gear in the game you can get. And then you're like, but what else is there to do? Am I just supposed to do this? Am I just supposed to go for cosmetic stuff? And what I think they really should have, it all boils down to is they need to add really cool titles, really cool achievements that give you pieces of gear that you can go for. Like right now, if you explore the world, you get the Explorer title. Or if you help all these wounded refugees and you help with these signs and like campfires and stuff, you get the Volunteer title, which I have right now. If I remember how to show it. See Volunteer. And I got Combat Healer. I didn't realize that. I also got Combat Healer. Yeah, I think they need to add in more of these titles. I think that gives people a lot more to go for. These titles giving extra skins and gears and stuff. It just needs to happen. There needs to be more for people to go for. And that's something that someone who logs on for like 45 minutes a day could strive for. Because they'll have a shot at getting, you know, a pretty unique piece of gear. Or, you know, just this really cool title on their character to show to people. Be like, hey, I went out, I killed 5 million Doliacs. I got the Doliac Bitch Slapper title. It's a title. Solid spent all the time to get it, but they got it. That's their title. That's really cool. They get like a Doliac headpiece or something. That would be really cool. I think more needs to be added to the game. And I think there needs to be a lot of class fixes. Like right now, engineers, necromancers, and rangers are kind of lacking when it comes to the PvE. Even thieves actually are lacking when it comes to the PvE department. Just a lot of the stuff needs to happen. Start happening like really quick. It's really hard for MMO developers to just pump the stuff out. But a lot of people don't understand that because everyone wants instant gratification. Like, okay, it has to happen, it has to happen, it has to happen, it has to happen. In my opinion, the first thing they need to do is kind of try to add in these titles and achievements to go for. There isn't a lot of them in the game. And they need to add in some realistic ones that are cool to go for. Some of these achievements besides World Explorer, if you've done 1 million damage or you've gained like 1 million experience without dying, kind of thing. They need more. They just need more stuff to go for. Cause to be honest, I only get dungeons if I'm asking cross server or if anyone in my guild that happens to run dungeons a lot is on. I'm one of those people that likes to run dungeons a lot. Other than that, it just doesn't happen. A lot of people don't want to sit there, spend a bunch of time losing gold, possibly. Be losing a bunch of gold, possibly. And they just feel like I just wasted so much time. I'm not getting enough reward for my time. So this is SnorlaxHands. If I had to give a Guild Wars 2 a rating, I'd give it 3 SnorlaxHands out of 5. It's good. I'm sure it'll get there after another 6 months. But right now, it's just decent. They just need to add more stuff to go for. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. And you enjoyed seeing some really bad Thief gameplay. See you later.